Okay, having a look at the answers to our probability quiz that we did in our grade 9 class on Friday. So the first question was looking at sample spaces, and we've got two that we want to talk about. One is rolling a standard die. So when we roll our standard die, we know the options are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We make sure we put the curly brackets around it because we're writing a sample space. The next one's a little bit trickier in that you have to think about how you're going to set it out. So the win-loss result of two matches for a team. Now I'm going to assume that I'm going to use a W for win and an L for loss. So a team plays and they play two matches. So they could have win-win, they could have win-loss, they could have loss-win, or they could have loss-loss. So we're just thinking through those combinations that could occur. Number 2 has the probability of choosing a vowel from the word mathematics. So first we want to know how many letters we're choosing from. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we know that our probability of a vowel is going to be something over 11. And then we look at how many vowels we've got. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 vowels. So that probability of a vowel is 4 over 11. We can't simplify that fraction any further, so we leave that as it is. The next one's looking at constructing a Venn diagram from this information, and there's a couple of questions on the next page regarding it. So we know there's 40 people altogether, and so we draw our box, we put our 40 outside. Then we have our two circles, and we know that the two sports we have are tennis and squash. So I'm going to use a T for tennis and an S for squash. And we're told how many of each, and we're told 13 like both. So I'm going to put my 13 in straight away. But the next bit is where some people get tricked up with. It says 28 like tennis. That means that whole circle for tennis adds to 28. So the something plus 13 gives us 28. So we know we have to put a 15 there. The big mistake people make is they put the 28 down here. And then for squash, we know that there's 25 altogether. And so we're going to put a 12 here because 12 plus 13 gives us 25. And then when we check these numbers, when we add them up, we get 15 plus 13 is 28, plus 12 gives us 40. So we know there's nothing outside. Now we could put a 0 to indicate that as well. Now the next questions are related to that. So I'm just going to move that down so you can still see my Venn diagram. And we've got how many liked both sports, and that was our 13. So we knew that 13 liked both. Then it says, what's the probability of only liking one sport? Now this is where we need to look at our Venn diagram, and we've got these 15 people here who only like tennis. And then we've got these 12 people here who only like squash. So we add that together and we get 27. Now that 27 is going to be over whatever our total was, and we were told our total was 40. So our probability of only one is going to be 27 over 40. Then we go on to a two-way table question. So we're filling in the gaps. So I could put in my lines there for my rows and columns. So we're looking for working out what goes in the gaps. So we've got our 9 plus 6 is 15. We've already got that column done. And we've got this row done here, 55 plus 6 gives us 61. So we're finding out the missing ones. So we've got a 61 and 100 there. So I can do 100 take away 61 is going to give me 39. So I know that the 39 goes up the top there. Then I know that something plus 9 gives me 39. So I know that this one must be 30. Then I can see that 30 plus 55 would give me this answer here. So I can put that down there as 85. Then our question about this one was, what's the probability that they have a sunroof and air conditioning? So we read that off the table as our 30. We know that's out of 100, but we're going to simplify that to 3 over 10 because we always simplify our fractions. Okay, number 5 was a set notation question. So we've got set of positive integers between 10 and 20, inclusive. So that means we're including the 10 and the 20. And then we've got set A is are the even numbers. So I want to write my sample space for this one first. So I've got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. as my sample space there. And then for my even numbers, so my A, that set is just going to be 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. And then my set B is ones that are divisible by 3. So I need to go along my line and look at what numbers I can divide by 3 and get a whole number, which are going to be my 12, my 15, and my 18. Then I want to know what is the set of numbers that are both in A and B. So I'm looking here and I've got the 12 and the 18. And then I want to know how many. So how many are in that set? There are 2. Then I can do my probability. So that's going to be 2 out of, and I've got to count how many I had in total. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's 2 over 11. Now my probability of not A means I have to go how many are in the A set? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of 11, that means I've got 5 left out of 11 that are not A. Now my last 2 questions. 2 coins are tossed. We want to find the probability of a head and tail. So we want to draw our tree diagram. So we've got head, tail, head, tail, head, tail, and then we can draw our combinations for that. So we can have head, 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 tail, tail, head, and tail, tail. So I've got 4 outcomes there. We want the probability of a head and a tail. Now they haven't specified it has to be in that order. So I get a head and a tail here, and I've got a head and a tail there, which is 2 out of 4, which simplifies to 1/2. Now my last question is about experimental probability, so not theoretical. We've got some data here, and we want to find the experimental probability for this scenario. So we've got the socks in the draw, and we can see that we have 16 plus 44 is 60, plus 40 is 100, so we've got 100 trials altogether. The probability of a white sock is going to be 40 out of 100, which is 2 out of 5 when we simplify it. Remember that you can get your calculator to simplify that for you. So if you enter that into your calculator, the 40 over 100, it will simplify that to 2 on 5 for you. And it'll do that on the scientific calculators too, in case you're concerned that this one isn't like yours. It will do that on yours as well. Probability of blue and white, that's going to be my blue is 16, my white is 40. So together, that gives me 56 out of 100. And then I can do the simplifying here, 56 over 100, and I get 14 over 25. Okay, and that was the last of the questions on that quiz.